couple terms that we're going to want to note down if you guys aren't already familiar. So you guys probably are familiar with some of these terms if you've taken Nuke 101 or you have a little bit of compositing experience. But I've basically put them together on these two slides here. I'll also put a PDF up of these as well, so we can just make sure we know what we're talking about when I'm using certain vocabulary. So I'll just quickly go over them and not spend too much time on this, except for maybe new ones that we're introducing, but some of the basic ones we already know, like keying, rotoscoping, mats or alphas. You guys probably know what all of those are. If not, the definitions are there. But then we also have erode. So that's basically just shrinking or expanding an alpha so we can make it smaller or larger, pushing it inward or outward. We also have gray keys and soft keys. So these are semi-transparent alphas. So if you read it, typically used to create an alpha for more hair detail, motion blurred areas, or transparent surfaces. So the reason I bring that one up is because a lot of times you want that black and white alpha, but there are some areas that are kind of semi-transparent. So like a motion blurred object, which would be kind of see-through. So it's okay to actually have keys that aren't perfectly white or black, 0 or 1. And I think this is something that people starting out don't necessarily realize is your key doesn't have to be perfectly black or perfectly white. So that's why we bring up the gray keys there. We also have holdouts and garbage mats. So holdouts basically are rotoshapes that fill in any holes in your black and white alpha. And we're going to look more on this in the next slides here with some more visual details. So don't worry about that too much right now. This is just the kind of vocabulary. We also have key mixing, which is combining alphas. Like I said, I'm going to go through this pretty quick so we can look at some visual examples. So these are just more here. Spill, which is kind of bounce light, coming onto your character. So maybe you have a bright green background and there's some spill, meaning some of the light is casting onto the person and contaminating them with green or blue. Despill is just trying to remove that. Then we also have edge mats. So these are kind of alphas that are kind of basically we can create an edge mat, so we can define the edge of a character or a scene, and we can color correct the edge differently than we color correct the center. So that's why we create edge mats. And then we also have edge extend, which is smearing pixels outward from the edge of a footage to basically it's a one way of kind of despilling. So again, we're going to get to visual examples. I'm just quickly going through. And then we have a couple more advanced ones like additive keying, which will be easier to explain once we get to the visuals, pre-multiply, unpre-multiply, and core mat. So we'll go through all those. That's a brief overview. I'll put the PDF there, but when you hear me saying something, I'm going to explain them later on. But if for some reason you miss, you're like, hey, what does he mean by additive keying, or what is he talking about with spill? You can go back to this list and hopefully it will help you out, but it'll make a lot more sense when we get to the visual examples. So this is a quick example of pre-multiplication, which is an important one. We're going to go more in depth on this as well, but this is just a very simple explanation of what this is, because the next slides that we go into, we just need to make sure we understand this on a basic level, and then later on we'll get more advanced. So this is really what it is. You have a black and white alpha, so we see that in the second image there. And we have the normal RGB color image, which is the first image. So one is just the normal video that we're expecting, and one is basically just telling it where to be transparent or not transparent. So black is fully transparent and white is fully opaque. And of course, gray in the middle would be kind of a semi-transparent. So those are good things to note, and we'll get into the more visual explanations and breaking down a more complex key.